When it came time to fill the top leadership role at the world's leading online travel agency last year, he was the only candidate the board of directors considered for the post. A Harvard Business School graduate and trained lawyer who takes pride in his dance moves, please welcome President and CEO of Expedia Group, Inc., Mark Okerstrom. Hi, Mark.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's up?
Not much.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Me neither. So it's been over a year, right?
Yes.
Since you've been CEO.
Yeah, time flies.
Yeah, so it's an old hat now, right?
Yeah. You got it.
How has the year been for you?
You know, if it's just us, like there's not thousands of people watching this, right?
Or going home.
I could be honest. Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. And, you know, once the announcement came out, one of our good friends and industry veterans, Tom Klein, called me on the phone. And he said, it's going to be busy, it's going to be hectic, but enjoy it. It's rare air. And it is completely rare air. It's an honor, it's a responsibility. It ain't easy. We got competitors coming at us all the time. It's a knife fight, it's a game of strategy. But what an amazing opportunity, and I'm just so thankful to have it.
Well, thanks for being here. So
Yeah.
you get to do these things too.
Yes.
Right? Big perk.
This is the big perk of the job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you miss about your old job?
What do I miss about my old job? You know, the thing I miss about my old job was that over the course of 12 years, you know, Dara and I had developed such a great working relationship. And, you know, yes, he was the CEO and I was the corporate strategy, M&A, finance guy, but we were really a great team and we could bounce things off of each other. I missed that, but the great thing is that the team at Expedia Group now, the executive team, everyone has stepped up, and actually now, instead of Dara and I bouncing things off of each other, I'm bouncing things off of 14, 16, 30 different people, all of which have usually better ideas than mine, so I've gotten over it.
Okay.
But I do miss my buddy.
That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
So it's been a transformational year, not just in terms of leadership, but also in laying down strategy. I mean, you
Yes.
come in, you have a strategy, right? Do you feel like you've done a good job kind of setting that strategy and getting everyone on board? Is that still a work in progress?
Well, it's always a work in progress. And, you know, the good news is that, you know, I had 12 years to think about the direction we needed to go, to deeply understand this business, what our competitors are doing, what we needed to do to take it to the next level. I've got, you know, incredible mentors in Barry Diller and Dara Khosrowshahi. So we feel very good about the strategic direction, but this business is not just about strategy, it's about execution. And we've got a ton of work ahead of us. We've got a ton of opportunity ahead of us. We feel like we are absolutely on the right track, but we've just got to keep getting better.
Okay, so let's stay on that point. So keep getting better. So one of the things, and I've been doing this a long time, and we've been talking to the CEOs of Expedia about expanding internationally, right?
Yes.
And still 40% is domestic of gross bookings.
Yeah, more than that, domestic, yeah.
Right, so I think it's under. It's
yeah,
actually,
we're under penetrated.
It's like 38 or something, right? I mean, excuse me.
International, yeah.
I flipped that. So 38% is international. And I'm sure that that's a percentage you'd like to see get higher. Mm-hmm. What are some of the barriers to that strategy? You know, you have a presence in Europe, you've had some fits and starts in Asia.
Yeah.
What are the challenges and the barriers to getting that number up to maybe 50% or whatever you'd like to see it at?
Yeah, well, you know, I think firstly, we will get there. One of the big barriers has been that our US business has been so strong and has been growing very nicely. And of course, through acquisitions, we've been able to build it even more. But at the end of the day, what it takes is, and where our heads are completely at, is that, you know, I think, you know, Philip says this very well, it's all about the customer. In the end of the day, the next 5, 10 years, they ain't gonna be about traffic and conversion. They're gonna be about customers. And the way that you win internationally is the way that we won domestically. I don't say that like we won, it's victory, it's ours forever. We got to earn it and keep it every day.
There were a couple of acquisitions that got you to where you are today.
Yes, but we have to be what we call locally relevant on a global basis. You cannot expect to earn customers' loyalty if you don't have a product that is better than your competitors. And that means you've got to have all of the assortment of things that customers might want. It means you've got to have the payment types, the translation, the content, all of these things. And that's how we're going to expand internationally in the right way.
So what weren't you doing that kind of was challenging?
Yeah, well, listen, in the early days of the internet, which is, we've been at this for 20 years, you view every growth opportunity as it's a land grab. You have to go after it. And so what we were doing was expanding essentially simultaneously in 65 countries around the world. And you have to focus in this business, because if you don't focus, someone else will focus and they'll do it better. And so our strategy now is about focusing and doing less, doing it better, and ultimately delivering a much better experience for the customer.
Okay. So how about with partnerships, right? With Despegar in Brazil, and with the Traveloka acquisition in Indonesia. So is that something we're going to continue to see, some of these partnerships, investments as the way to go?
I think possibly that we've got this mantra at Expedia, the vision, which is, we are the world's travel platform. And the word platform is important. We run a massive platform that is essentially networking consumers and corporate travelers and companies and traditional travel agents and other online, massive amounts on the demand side. And on the supply side, we're networking together every single provider of inventory. And part of that platform strategy is making sure that we expose our platform and allow other players like Despegar, like Traveloka, like Thomas Cook, get on the platform, use our technology, use our supply. So you may see more things like that. It's, we're financially driven, of course, so they got to make sense. But it's part of the strategy.
Okay. Yeah. And then China, where you've made, you've got out the AirAsia, and then the Elong, sold Elong. Are you looking more now in Southeast Asia? Have you kind of given up on China?
Well, we haven't given up on China. I'm pleased to announce a minority investment, and I'm joking, I'm not doing that. I think I shouldn't joke like that on stage. We're very focused on the parts of the Chinese opportunity where we can actually deliver value. So we're very focused on the outbound Chinese opportunity. Our big brands, Brand Expedia, Hotels.com, are absolutely serving Chinese travelers, sending them to all parts of Asia and Europe and the US. We have a large team in China who is signing up properties, doing deals with airlines so that ultimately we can bring international travelers into China. Right now, the domestic market doesn't seem like one where we have a real chance of winning anytime soon. So in a world where you have to choose, and I'm going to quote Aman Bhutani, who's the president of Brand Expedia Group on this, when you have to choose where you're going to play and how you're going to win, right now domestic China doesn't fit well on that 2x2, so we're focused on other areas.
Other areas. Yeah. So you mentioned that the U.S. market is continuing to grow, but, and I'm no Jake Fuller here, but if I take out HomeAway, Gencia, and I look at the core Expedia OTA, I see single-digit growth in the U.S. So are we seeing saturation in Expedia, the core Expedia in the U.S.?
Saturation is a strong word. I think that the U.S. is one of the more mature markets in terms of online penetration. So in that respect, some of the easy tailwinds that we see in other places in the world, like middle class is emerging, and people are getting internet access, people are moving offline to online. Those tailwinds don't exist really in the U.S. to the same extent that they used to. But if you just look at the raw numbers, we're low double-digit percentage of the lodging business in the US. Our corporate business is growing very nicely. HomeAway hasn't even really begun. The urban opportunity. We look at our lodging inventory, just pure conventional lodging. We think we've still got opportunities. So it's definitely in a more mature state than Vietnam, but we are not done in the U.S.
But Mark, it seemed like the HomeAway acquisition just came at the right time because it really helped your domestic market, and it looks great, and it's obviously a great acquisition.
Yeah.
So, and I know big plans to expand international as well with HomeAway, right? So how do you kind of prioritize? You have your supply for HomeAway, putting that on the Expedia bookable platform, and then you also have plans to grow HomeAway internationally. How are you prioritizing?
Yeah. Prioritization, it's always a hot topic. Well, in that case, we're doing both. And the challenge of getting some of these whole homes that are in Florida into a position where we can sell them on Expedia or on Hotels.com is something we're very focused on. We think that, at least for our customers, and we've seen this because even before we bought HomeAway, we had a deep partnership with them. We know that in certain circumstances, certain travel types, our customers absolutely love this inventory. So we're focused on integrating that, but it's going to take some time.
How many properties now are on Expedia?
We've got about 300,000.
Okay. So are you starting to see patterns, or is it too early? If I'm looking,
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of mixing inventory.
It's honestly, it's too early to call, but some of the patterns you could imagine are quite predictable, which is if someone says they are traveling with a group of 5, they're more likely to book the house. So we're learning. This is all about learning. How do you present it? Do you interlace it with all of the hotels? Do you show it as a tab? Do you show it as a tile? We've got a ton of work to do there. But at the same time, HomeAway is expanding internationally, and that is something that is going to be, we're going to be doing over the course of the next couple of years. It's going to be a long road, but there's tons of opportunity out there.
I have to ask you, who do you see as your biggest competitor in the private accommodation space? Is it Airbnb or Booking?
I think they are both. It's hard for me to call a bigger. I think they are both excellent competitors. They have both proven the ability to execute incredibly well. I have an incredible amount of respect for both of them, and I think about them both as being, real competitors.
So, Lorraine and Mark, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Philip.
I have a question, if I may. Haven't been around in a long time. Thinking way back when Expedia bought Travelscape, I think it was called, in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Surprised the marketplace with the merchant model in hotels. And that led to Expedia soaring to the top for a long time. And then Booking surprised the marketplace with a return to the commission model.
Yeah.
And then just recently, that's what I want to know what you think about. Booking recently announced the merchant model is going to be a significant part of its business going forward. What's going on?
That's such a flip-flop. You guys were all merchant, then you went to commission.
Yeah.
And then those guys were all commission, and now what?
We're just scattered. We're all over the place. Listen, at the end of the day, you've got, I think anyways, 2 very data-driven companies, and 2 companies that listen to customers and they listen to partners. And at the end of the day, what we learned was that some customers like agency, some like merchant, some hotels like agency, some like merchant. And we just said, you know what? Let's just give everyone the choice. And so it looks like Booking.com has done the same thing. I suspect, in an alternative accommodations world where a private home doesn't have a card scanner like a hotel does, some of that's in the necessity of going to more alternative accommodations. But, it doesn't surprise me. I think it's what the data will tell you should do if you listen to it.
But the travelers want to pay ahead of time. I mean, that whole thing is about paying when you, right, when you check in versus paying prior.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example of where a customer will, I swear they will only book merchant, is if you've got a Brazilian traveler with a currency that is devaluing like faster than you can even, your nose starts bleeding, and you're taking a trip to Miami 6 months from now, you just want to lock that in. Pay now. On the flip side, if you're a German traveler and you're a corporate and you know you're going to get 17.5% VAT back, if you get a VAT receipt, you're like, I'm going to go to the hotel and get my VAT receipt. So there's just different situations, and again, we put ourselves in the world where we're agnostic. We're the world's travel platform.
It's however you want to do it. So, speaking of hotels, and there was an interesting quote. Kellen Smith-Kenny, today from Hilton said, there's a lot of paranoia and skepticism around prices and displays.
Yeah.
And of course, the discussion was about loyalty rates and that there's different prices out there. First, what's your comment on that comment? Is there a lot of paranoia and skepticism on the consumer side?
Geez, I don't know if there's paranoia.
Are we creating this monster?
I don't know if there's paranoia or skepticism. I think that ultimately we anyways are always trying to provide great value to our customers, but also help our partners drive ADRs and yield wherever we can. And in that type of dynamic environment, you can see dynamic changes in prices, and that's our approach, and we think that's a good thing. I think that when you have television advertisements that say book direct because you're going to get the lowest price, it maybe creates a question in people's mind that, hey, there's another price out there, and maybe that causes the paranoia. I don't know, but it's not necessarily something that's new in the industry.
Okay. But the hotel...
We have a question.
Okay.
Mark, so my question is around acquisitions. So you mentioned a couple of times that it's kind of more opportunistic approach. If there is something come up, then you're going to go and then purchase to complement your product. So if we think from the product perspective, if you would think of the perfect next acquisition, so what would it be? In what kind of products?
So if you're going to do an acquisition, where would it be?
The perfect acquisition. Boy.
What do you need to fill? What kind of holes do you need to fill?
Can I have two?
Yes.
I would, in a different world, in a totally different world where US and China relations are much better, boy, I would love to have a big player in China be part of the Expedia Group family. So that's one.
Is it too late for that to happen?
Listen, this industry is so dynamic. Who knows? Who knows? I'm learning Mandarin. No, I'm not learning Mandarin. The other one is we've been growing Agencia, our corporate travel business, very quickly, and I've made no mistakes. We want that to be bigger, so I think we'd love to do an acquisition in the corporate travel space too.
I think I heard you say they're like the third largest TMC? Or
Fourth largest.
Yeah.
So but thank
maybe
you.
make them the third largest with an acquisition then.
Yeah, our first.
Of course.
Awesome.
Third. Okay, I want to go back to hotel, because the loyalty rates at some point, like some of them were 10% lower than what I would get through Expedia.
Yeah.
Right? If I join the program for free.
Yeah.
And now these are chains, right? So it's a bigger implication in the US where you have more chains. But what does that do? Like you're really OTAs and consumers always identify OTAs with having the lowest price, and our data show, and that was Robert had mentioned that earlier, that when we talk to OTA bookers versus those who book direct, why did you book the OTA? I booked the OTA because I'm getting the lowest price. So is that mindset, that's important to you, I would imagine, because that kind of continued the trajectory for OTAs, is that perception. Are you concerned that could change over because of some of these loyalty rates?
Well, I think it's a concern, obviously, but I would recharacterize what we're trying to do slightly, which is that we're trying to provide the best value. And what we have found anyways is that as some of the large chain hotels have discounted their prices, ultimately leading to lower revenues for their owners and more loyalty points that their owners sometimes have to pay them for. We've got customers that are shopping around, and they look at Hotel X and they look at it over there and they're like, well, this isn't the lowest price, but let me look at this property. And we've got a number of hotel partners who have incredible properties that are completely peer properties to a number of the properties from the big chains. And they're able to price competitively, and they're an incredible value. And what we've seen them is step up into our channel and provide our customers with great value. So, on a like-for-like basis, and it's not for me to drive the strategy of these players. They're doing what they're doing, but our customers are still getting incredible value.
And you're in negotiations with some of the chains now, usually right November. Now, do you still hear them like threaten to pull out?
I only hear that when I read the press, but I.
They haven't told you that to your face.
Listen,
because I've heard it too.
Yeah, listen. I think.
They're just mouthing off. Or?
I think that rhetoric around wars and pulling out and leverage it's old school. We run a platform. If you don't like it, don't be on it. If there's one thing that has been proven to us over the course of the last few years with all this book direct stuff is that we're not reliant on any one partner. So I don't even want to engage in that discussion. But what I do want to engage in is the fact that being the platform, by God, we've got so many ways that we can work together with hotel partners through powering their vacation packages path or signing up loyalty members. That's where I want to focus on.
Okay. Yeah. And activities, when you're talking about, we didn't talk about that yet. So where do you sit there, right? Because with Trip and Boken and Booking for Harbor, and you're out there early with activities. It's a tab, right? So first of all, talk about how you see the business, and do you see it, because booking activities, so much of it happens in the destination, right? Maybe versus the hotel buying path or the air. So how do you see that?
Well, first of all, if I could choose where I would want to start up with some traction right now, it'd be in the activities business. Okay. I mean, capital is flowing to it. I don't know who paid you guys to write that activities report, but it caused something special. So there's a ton of excitement around activities right now. We've been in the activities business for 1999. A fellow Canadian, I think Stuart McDonald's probably around here, started it for us. And so we know that business. And one of the challenges has always been that people do want to wait. But we have about 300 million downloaded apps. We know where people are. We can provide them with the perfect experience for where they are that fits in well with their itinerary. And we will be, if you look over the course of the next 5 years, or call it $500 million in activities business, what it was last year, will be significantly bigger.
So what do you need to do in the activity space to, do you feel like, do you need to have a res system or, because isn't that where the industry is going? Is that something that you don't have right now?
Yeah, I don't think we need one. I think it's, I think there are a lot of players out there that are providing reservation systems and booking engines for what is an incredibly fragmented industry. And I think it's unlikely that we are going to be the ones that are going to build the reservation engine that fits every purpose in any place around the world. So I expect that the industry will end up pretty fragmented in the reservation system situation, and we just want to be, as a platform that the reservation systems can connect to and get all of these activity providers, onto the Expedia Group brands. In terms of what we need, though, quite simply, we need the scalable way to bring on more activities in a way with content and data structures that we can expose and present to our hundreds of millions of customers around the world. And so we'll be focused on that over the course of the next little while. And of course, yes, I think Steve Hafner said AI is, there's a lot of buzz around it, but also making sure that we develop much more sophistication on delivering the right set of activities to the right customers based upon what we're seeing real time and what we know about those customers from the past.
Okay. Is AI just buzz at Expedia, or is it a real thing?
No, it's very real. It's very real, but it's not the all singing, all dancing solution to every problem. You know, in a sense, if I could boil down what it is it's a way for us to automate. And it's a way for us to automate based on real-time, huge amounts of data to say, I see Lorraine doing this, I'm going to reconfigure the website to show her this. And so it's very real, it's live for us in Risk, it's live for us in chatbots, and the way that we configure our UI for who you are. But it has, you know, it has limited capabilities right now, but it's absolutely, we're doing it.
Okay. And voice too, correct? You work with Amazon on voice?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And
It looks
Google,
like we're...
Google too.
Yeah. Looks like we are ready for our lightning round.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Okay.
Everybody! Yay! Okay.
That was super lame, by the way.
So it's an either or.
Oh boy. Okay, either or.
Okay, here we go. Leisure or corporate?
Leisure.
Robots or Bellman?
Robots.
Dara or Diller?
Oh boy, I can't pick a favorite.
Invest or reinvest?
Reinvest.
Voice or VR?
Voice.
Activities or home rental?
Home rental.
Blockchain or biometrics?
Biometrics.
Millennials or boomers?
Millennials.
Airbnb or booking? We're almost done.
VRBO.
All right, here's a tough one. Book on Google or book direct?
Book direct on Expedia.
Uber drivers or driverless cars?
Driverless cars.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Okerstrom.
Thank you.